on flanks. I think it's a lot more restrictive than TF2's map design philosophy, but that is perfect for what Rivals is incentivizing. And I think that distinction in design philosophy, between character rules and map layout, is what makes a big difference between demo and gold3. The tricky thing about Rivals is that there is a lot more pressure placed on individual players to perform well. If one person isn't doing too good, that means the whole team will suffer, so you will usually learn one character well and stick to them. In a game where there are over 50 characters which all have their individual strengths and weaknesses, that's going to have some nasty side effects, especially when players need to accommodate one another. Some of Squirrel Girl's abilities are going to be much more effective against certain characters than others. Vanguard and Shield Bearer will stop themselves from being hit with the scroll blocking, which other Vanguard, like the thing, don't have the luxury of being able to do. Some characters are just going to be better than others at certain things. Hell, duelists like Jean Grey and Hela are great counters to Squirrel Girl because of their precisely play style. But if your teammate only knows how to play, say, proliferation, I don't think that's going to be as effective at taking out Squirrel Girl. Meanwhile, in TF2, there are only 9 core classes, each designed to complement and counter each other in various ways. And in a 12v12 fight in these big maps which incentivize player creativity and skill, you usually have at least one person who can count out what's giving you trouble. If an engineer is building a sentry that you can't get past, there's a fire demo man in your team able to take them out. If a demo man is spamming pipes down a choke point, you bet Sniper will be getting ready to line up a headshot. In totality, TF2 is about many smaller fights which add to make the bigger one. It gives players the space to experiment and find their own ways of taking down threats, whereas Rivals is about concentrating on the objective nearly all the time. And with such a large character roster, counterpicking becomes a problem. And with all that in mind, I think it's time to discuss some key points of play with Squirrel Girl that I've seen floating around. Number 1! Foot spam! One of the easiest ways to get value out of Squirrel Girl to meet players is to simply spam projectiles in an area of a choke point. This effectively blocks down the area until either someone who can take that point, stranger by the needle, the team plays a different path to the point, circumventing that sort of locked down area, or the enemy team is able to get rid of Squirrel Girl, either by forcing a retreat or by sending her straight to Monkey Joe. Wait, what just did? He died in 2005! This nut spam can certainly be annoying, but it can be easy to get around by closing the distance between yourself and the squirrel and just dispatching it. Blind characters have a great advantage when doing this, and they'll wait to get a hit in the air and drown the enemies. But if that squirrel feels good, Monkey Joe will be saving you. Spamming is certainly a low-effort way to apply pressure to the enemy team, but this also means that eliminating Gold should also be pretty easy once your team finds their preferred way to deal with it. Number 2! Squirrel Girl is useless outside of range, for example when getting dived or holding down the point. Now, first, I've been saying that anyone is useless in any specific field is reminding both the character and the player. It sounds a lot like putting characters in a box, and while certain characters can be better than others in situations like dives, I don't think anyone would be saying like Hela, for example. Another character who excels at long-range damage. When a dive occurs, you have to change your gameplay style, and this applies especially for Squirrel Girl, who has access to 2 stuns, a jump, and a powerful fire fire. The main difference is in the hand shots, which is more difficult for a new Squirrel Girl to provide value with, because admittedly, aiming is difficult. To see your win, so in a situation like this is quite a bit of a reach, since it comes down more to skill expression of my favourite spots over there. And to tie it all together, the final main complaint is a combination of the first two. The Squirrel Girl is a skillless character, and you can just aim at the enemy or their general vicinity and they will die. And you know what? I agree. What's up, y'all? Probably from the picture on some Marty McFly action. You might have noticed throughout the video so far that I've been playing Squirrel Girl in a rather unorthodox way. I've been playing a more different demo man, or maybe some other upfront TPS and rivals that have been a soldier. In my opinion, it's a bit of a nuance towards my specific playstyle of being up-close and personal. I didn't quite fully grasp the main complaints around Squirrel Girl, so to understand more as usually clear, I went undercover to study their tactics. And what I found made a lot more sense.
News.com introduces Save Your Way. Choose how you save. Get instant savings now or Bankers Rewards for a teacher's pay. Save your way. It's exactly what it sounds like. Unlike headphones. Save your way. We'll be in the time.
From what I gathered, the main crux of the problem is how Squirrel Girl doesn't need to be in the main area of conflict to still provide value to the team. With a large range and no damage drop-off, it means Doreen can effectively spam projectiles into a choke point and get rewarded greatly, which is especially frustrating if none of the enemy team are able to pick her off by Probe or Die. With other characters being designed to complement the boost of each other's abilities, the Burst Acorn feels almost too simple and too effective in comparison. And combining that with Scrollgirl's tricky up-close accuracy, and you've got a character that seems overpowered in the distance, but totally useless when you actually get your hands on them. Doreen's a character whose kit on paper fits really well into the cast, but her abilities can be exploited far too easily with very little drawback. And from what I can tell, this is sort of the main issue around the character. And whilst my earlier points did have some merit, it doesn't mitigate the fact that these are real big issues. So, how do we fix this? Well, I have an idea. There's also a few reflex that change how Doreen's capability works. Of course, take gold3 of salt because I'm no game designer or balancer, but the way Doreen's Burst Acorn currently works is that when it directly hits an enemy, it hits the target for a 1.10 health points, as well as anyone within close proximity to this hit. It doesn't matter how far away Scrollgirl is to the enemy, as long as she gets a direct hit, it still hits that block, which incentivizes a more hands-on, standard gameplay style. So, my first change would be to make a damage fall off of these big acorns, which you can't cross-map you with the nuts. Give it something like a 50% drop off and about this much range of the gun, but it might go advantage this. She still keeps her down because it's effective range, so she still has to be within, a decent distance to the main fight. Now, with that aside, this is where I'm going to start to get experimental on here, because this is how I eventually change Gorilla to suit my gameplay style. To further incentivize close range and aggressive gameplay and balance out the worst along the distance, I would make it slightly easier to get conversation with direct hits by making the shots that might be faster whilst also putting the first equal damage by 5. With this change making direct hits far easier to achieve, and we then change the score of blockade from an ability that completely halts an enemy to remove the significant slowly beyond it instead. This means that the enemy would still have a chance of counterplay, and it makes sure ability to hit his shot properly in order to provide the proper advantage he can. I also think this should retain the grounding property, as this is one of Doreen's main tools when dealing with pesky flyers. The tail bounce and mammal bond would remain virtually the same, but with the focus on the power panel, I would make one ever so slight change, mammal bond. Doreen would now gain a slight movement speed increase in the duration of mammal bonds over time, meaning the player now have the tools more effective to shield in combat, as well as offering more strength for using it. If you really wanted to, you can also give like 25 shields for the duration of mammal bond as well, but I think the movement speed is enough of a change to provide some extra nuance of versatility. My thought process behind these changes is about one thing specifically: intentionality. How do you move Scrollgirl so the character who is still true to her core design, but puts more emphasis on skill expression and using the kit to create a rewarding gameplay experience for both the Scrollgirl player as well as the enemy facing it? Because let's be real, Doreen doesn't have a skill ceiling like everyone else. It's just so easy to rely on a roving fragment fire at range that it becomes almost impossible to define her as anything other than her wave traits. Hell, I haven't even mentioned Scrollgirl's ultimate ability, the unbeatable Scroll Step, which runs at your opponents and deals damage when it connects. And let me tell you, that ult can be devastating.
I will do all of the hard work.
Oh my goodness, this is different. As you can probably tell, this ult thrives in the chaos it brings to the table. It's massive down the ultimate Scrollgirl's own ultimate firepower, but it isn't a team style where it has two key components, one being the team ult, and the second being the Scrolls kill the invention to hit. But of course, in the active kill the two rivals, that can feature the time. Overall, Doreen has the framework of a truly great addition to Marvel rivals, and when played in a way that is very unique, she can flourish as a massive upfront damage dealer. However, the design of her primary fire is so inherently exploitable that she makes her very presence over an annoyance to both teams. It really is a shame, because there are some really great aspects of her kit that make her a blast to play. I just hope that with time we can get some power changes to make Scrollgirl the character she can be. Little bit Bobby. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time when I try to play some absolutely normal Super Mario Sticks to Come. That is fun. If you want to turn some rawness to them,
They purchased the card, I'd say about 15 years. Didn't have any issue right off the bat, but kind of took a little bit. Started having rather funny out. Found out it was bird nest. right around this side of the house. So Leaf Guard came out, they cleaned it out. But as the years went on, it started happening elsewhere. And now we're having debris and
Hey guys, welcome back to the Marvel Rivals tier list for bad players. Last time, we ranked the supports, and one thing I wanted to make clear after rewatching that video is I don't personally play all these heroes, but I am placing them on the tier list based on how I see other players using that. For example, I think Cloak and Dagger is actually pretty hard to die when used right, and recycle her shroud and orb. But most users I see never actually pop the orb on themselves, and sometimes they didn't even shroud when I die. So that's why she gets placed lower, because of how easy I find to kill when piloted by a bad player, as compared to Deadpool where you just press E and live for the whole duration. But let's move on. This time, we're doing the tanks, the big boys, the big chunguses. So I'd like to ask the girly pops, the Queen, the Broom, and the Hero-Man to bring stand up. This next list is for you, the 45-year-old fathers, the retired office workers, and the unks of the Marvel Rivals player base in general. Let's get going. Alright, we're starting this tier list strong. First up is Captain America. He's going straight to the top of S tier. This man is damn near unkillable, especially in the low elo since nobody can aim. So you just become an immortal without sprint, dash, ground pound. You have so many mobility tools, and his ability to start point is actually goaded in low elo, since it's not guaranteed your team will portal for overtime. His animation cancel is pretty easy too, so he's all around very low skill floor and gets immense value from just running around. And because nobody peels for supports in low rank, you can actually rack up kills just by running at the back line. If you want to learn to dive tank, Cap is a great place to start. Top of S tier. Now we have Doctor Strange, and I'm putting him in A tier. His base kit is actually really easy to play. His primary has a large hitbox, so they're easy to land. He'll just pop his E whenever the meter fills and explode everyone around you. Simple stuff. But his real value is just being a moving wall. In an environment where nobody takes cover, just holding right click gives your team insane value. His ult is 50-50 since you're so big, people will try to CC you if you ult right in front of them. And I never see my screens do the fly up, charge the ult in the air, and drop down tech. But I also see a lot of my screens getting the ult off uncontested, so it is a mixed bag. But the thing that keeps him out of S tier is his portal. This ability can straight up solo your own team. I've seen strangers drop portals right in the middle of the enemy team on Cowboy with clear cover, and everyone dies before they can even walk through. Or it works to get the worst time and you don't have it for overtime. But the cheesy portal and defense maps is surprisingly pretty consistent strategy in low elo. A silvers and bronzes wear earplugs when playing this game, and you can typically choose 2 or 3 kills to start the match for an easy first fight win. But outside of that, you need at least half a brain to use portal properly. But even without that, this game of big moving wall and low elo is so strong. Doctor Strange, A tier. Next up is Boots. Oh boy. And I was originally going to put him in C tier, but I'm dropping him straight into D tier trash because I fucking hate this character so much. His walls are just way too dangerous for your own team. I've been killed by so many of my own boots. They roll off low health enemies so they survive, wall you off with their supports, or even wall themselves off so the front line just dies. I've also had so many games where I'm playing Black Panther, about to reset my dash on someone, and my only boot walls them right in front of me for no reason and ruins everything. This ult is actually strong. You just throw it down and stun everyone. It's less telegraphed than a Strange ult, and this primary fire is fairly easy to use. But the ability to kill your own team is just too damaging. If I see a brute in my lobby, I already know I'm about to have a bad time. A bad brute turns the game into a 5-7. So even though he has some strong tools, the risk is just too big. Let's do it here. Next up is Bolt, the big green range monster. I honestly don't think he's that good in Low Eagle. I rarely see good bolts in my lobbies, and I can see why highly hero players say he's kind of hard to play despite his pretty basic kit. It's not even that he dies super easily, we're losing a lot of bolts instantly pop out of full form and get deleted as banner. The bigger issue is that he doesn't even create positive value. He does low damage, he's easier to track and shoot down than Captain America, and he's not as much of a distraction all around. He also takes practice to land because of the charge of time. You have to read it more than you expect, even with the fast projectile speed. His shield is good because it builds ult charge, and his ult actually lets him kill people, but with the recent ult changes, he doesn't get it as often anymore. And I've never seen any low-level folks successfully pull off the juggles and CC chains as well, so that's not even a factor here. Overall, focus was kind of meh. He can survive, though not as much as Gorilla Tanks, and he just doesn't do enough in the hands of the unskilled. Focus is here. Now we got Grandpa Magneto, Papa Mag. I'm putting him in a solid 18 spot for a lot of the same reasons as strength. He's a big wooden wall protecting his grandkids in the back line that refuse to get behind the corner. I do think he's a bit below strange though, because his primary and right click are harder to hit. Even with the explosions, I don't see a lot of mags actually landing consistent shots, so his frontline pressure isn't as high as it could be. But his bubbles are super strong. Even if you're not using it perfectly to say ulting teammates or dying allies, just having that invulnerability window on anyone is really good. Anything that keeps your feeding teammates alive longer is so valuable. This ult can be tricky because you have to watch how fast people are shooting it down, but just having that window where no projectiles get through is already really good for your team. His entire kit generates value just by activating them. He damn near plays himself. Therefore, Magneto is solid A tier. Next up is the raid boss herself, Penny Parker. And I'm putting her in S tier, even above Captain America. In high elo, she's considered bad because people destroy her nests and gadgets, so she's basically just this slow-moving target. But in low elo, nobody shoots her gadgets. Her nests stay up the whole game. People will step on mines even when they're partly open, not hidden by her webs or put on doorways. That's why I see so many pennies with more damage dealt than damage taken. Her gadgets get to be used for free. Her web right-click stun is fairly easy to hit as well. It's slow but wide and spammable, so you accidentally cancel a ton of ults. Her ult is kind of trash, but her neutral game is so strong in low elo it doesn't even matter. Her base gameplay is already ult tier. Also, you can successfully get away with that cheesy strat on defense where you just put a bunch of lines at the enemy spawn at the start of the game. 9 times out of 10 people will just double key into it, and you can get a triple kill and a free win in the first fight. Just because people don't have headphones in or they have their blindfolds on and can't see the web flipping through the spawn door. Because you can kill so effectively from the 10 door while being almost uncontested in low elo, Penny Parker is top of S tier. Now, I know I call Penny a raid boss, but the real raid boss of the game is Thor. But I'm only putting him in the top of the tier. Here's why. Unlike a lot of the shield tanks who fill a more supportive role, Thor can actually dish out massive damage and solo carry games from the tank role, but what keeps him out of S tier is that he doesn't have much damage mitigation for himself. You actually need half a brain to know when to stay, when to get out, and when it's going to actually dive instead of frontline. Most little fours just permanently wall on the front line the whole game, overstay or feed. I also never see most little fours using his full with his ship, so that frontline bully playstyle barely exists. He's mostly used just as an awakened form bot, left clicking everything. With this awakened form frontline playstyle, if the team comps and matchups favor him, he leads. But if not, he gets beat. That's why, despite being a Thor main myself, it hurts the favorites. Thor is only top of A tier.
Now, who am I gonna be?
Next up is Venom. Venom. And I'm putting him at the bottom of A tier. And look, Venom plays a similar role to Captain America. He's just the best that looks the enemy backline the entire game. And he's incredibly survivable. I'd say just a little bit less than Cap. He generates a ton of overhealth and can swing out when things get too dangerous. A lot of the time, people don't even see him from swinging away or popping his overhealth, so killing him in low is actually pretty rare. But he's an A tier because he has less guaranteed damage than Captain America. His primary fire is awkward and hard to hit, while Cap can just punch and bonk him with a shield and melee. Venom doesn't have that same consistency and certainty. He does have that one-shot combo where he tethers and holds squishies, but I almost never see low-rank Venoms use it in my game, so I can't really factor that in either. Overall, he's still really good because low emo supports and healers can't really answer him or CC him properly, but because his damage is easy to get off and he doesn't bring as much team value as the shield tanks, Venom is bottom of the
Our
tier.
heroes could make all the difference.
Next up is the Thing. Despite having probably the easiest and most basic kit in the entire game, I'm putting him in B tier. Low elo Thing players, I don't know what it is, but we'll just put on the blindfolds and bum rush straight into the deepest parts of the enemy backline's asshole. They'll treat you like some kind of backline assassin, like, bro, you know, only his skin is made of rocks, right? His brain and organs are still fresh and bone. Does it actually play cover and care for the backline? He's easily the bottom of S tier with how much value he can bring. But instead, they just don't.
Gets what she wants.
I also see a lot of them using shift to escape instead of engaging. I'm not a Thing player at all, so maybe this is just some secret high elo tech I'm unaware of. But they rock on, rather than using their jump to engage, take damage, and use their shit to get back to their team. Completely wasting the grounding zone. Why not use shit to go in and repeat to get out? I feel like it makes so much more sense. Unless there's some weakness with it that I'm unaware of. So even though his hit is wind up easy, the way low rank players use him holds him back. The Thing is B tier.
Look who's here.
And now we got Angela, a big flying Martin Lady. As a flyer, you'd think that would give her a big boost, but it actually doesn't help much from the tank where they're supposed to be in the thick of it and they're making pressure or being a distraction. You're just floating in the air the whole time, not taking damage. They're more of a detriment to your team. She's also kind of hard to pull properly. There's the charge has an awkward charge-up time until it connects, so it's not easy to land. From what I've seen in low elo, Angela usually ends up with a net 0 value. Well, it turns the game into a 5v7, she turns it into a 5v6. She's either staying in the air, not tanking or distracting anyone, or she dives behind the enemy team, releases her shift and just flies back to her team. She doesn't die because no one sees her, but she also doesn't really accomplish anything. Her ground form doesn't do that much damage either, so if you want a ball, you're better off playing Thor and leaving the Thing. Then putting Angela in C tier, maybe slightly above Colt, because she's a little harder to actually pin down and kill. Next up is our next muscle lady, Rogue. I'm putting her in the bottom of B tier. A little Thing. Her abilities are pretty easy to use in my opinion. When you're engaged, they just use all your ability to keep her combo on their target, and you don't need to aim except for the 2 long-range punches she gets after the knockoff. Her ult is actually very strong, It drains all charge from the enemy team so we can swing momentum of the game in your team's favor just by popping it. But as a brawler, she suffers from some of the same drawbacks as Thor with her limited damage mitigation. She has some mitigation with her right foot shield, but it's not that good in my opinion. You still need to use cover and know when to disengage properly. Her ability steal has a high skill ceiling, as you can use it to steal a fight swinging ability from the enemy team. But just using it as a hard CC is already really good because you can still shoot the person like they started at the end of it. But despite having all these tools and being relatively easy to play, I see a lot of really rogues doing the same thing as little things. You just put the blindfolds on and run straight into the enemy backline with no support, and just die. So I actually put her below the thing, despite being kind of easy to play. Because she doesn't bring as much utility as the thing's grounding zone. Her ult is really good utility, but the thing's grounding zone is just going to be up more often than Rogue will have her ult. So she will be bottom of B tier for now. Next up is Emma Frost, the Diamond Queens. Let's have earned that nickname because her thighs are so thick, it'll say that she can squeeze a man's head into a rough diamond. I'm putting her in B tier, but below them. She's a shield tank, so she brings that cover for your team that's desperately needed in Magneto, but it's a bit harder than usual than Strange or Magnetos, because you have to place it down and remember to recall it so you can recharge. That extra thinking can be overwhelming for bad players. Her primary is really easy to hit despite the limited range, but it doesn't do much damage. You can increase it by comboing it with the gem, but you have to position really well to hit both the gem and the enemy at the same time. Most low-elo players don't do that. You either shoot the target or the gem. You also have to manage the meter on it by tossing things and freezing it with a diamond fork, but low rankers don't do that either, so her primary and normal form stays pretty low damage. Her diamond form is really good though, despite the damage reduction nerfs, because of how much burst it can do with the hard CC grab. The grab is actually kind of fast and easy to hit. You just have to be mindful of the short range. Her ult isn't as good as the other shield tanks, even though people understand that you can just hide behind the corner and it becomes useless. Unlike Strange or Magneto, which are a lot more impactful. A lot of her value comes from being a shield tank and low elo, but because the shield is trickier to use and her damage is lower, she ends up at the bottom of A tier. But I think Venom can still bring more value by constantly harassing the backline. Should be higher if low elos actually used her to counter guys, but I don't see that too often, so bottom of A tier he goes. And the last tank on the list, Deadpool. This might make Spade a lot higher rank players, but in low elo, I don't think he's all that good. He's still Halo-like. Even though his primary is easier to hit since you're shooting targets up close, and you have a high fire rate mode, a lot of his value still comes from hitting your shots to do damage with it. And if you can't aim, you're not really doing anything. His shield can bring a lot of utility if you use it to isolate targets and block in, but most Deadpools just use it like a regular shield, like how Emma would, just to put a wall in front of themselves, so he doesn't get full value. But he is really mobile and has damage mitigation from his team, so he can be pretty survivable in the front, which is more important in their way, because low elo Deadpools usually gonna flank or die. A lot of his value in low elo comes from having his ult up really often. You can just slap it on a support with DPS and take them out of the fight. But his neutral outside of that is mid in the low rank landscape. He's better than Angela because he can actually get some value, and it also put him above Rogue because he's more mobile and survivable. But the value that the thing's grounding zone brings still outweighs what a no aim Deadpool can bring. So tanking is literally the active B tier. And that concludes our Marvel Rivals Bad Players Tier List, Tank Edition. Now, I want to hear from you guys. If you agree with my placements, drop a comment. If you think I'm completely wrong and I belong in the S tier brain dead category, tell me why and post me in the comments as
Time to
well.
switch things up,
I can take it.
including which side
I
you're
promise.
on.
I'll be dropping the DPS tier list in the next few days, so if you enjoy this one, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. If this video helped you even a little bit, or made you laugh, cry, scream, drop a like. It really helps the boy out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.
Kevin Hart here to tell you all about Taco Bell's new jalapeno citrus sauce. Hey guys, I kind of feel like you're chopping off my hand a little bit. It's spicy, balanced with the sweet and tangy citrus touch.
New jalapeno citrus sauce. The sauce with more main character energy than Kevin Hart.
It's pretty upsetting when you can pay for a certain amount of download and the upload speed doesn't match that.
So what I like about Google Fiber is it's the symmetrical speeds. It's the harmony on it. I love it about Google Fiber.
Google Fiber is the best.
Well, from one mother to another, let me say you are a true gem. The
Probably
battle
could
starts
put
in
it worse. I mean, there's going to be a couple of maps that will get that worse out of it, even then you're swapping after kind of that first film anyway. Examination, if it gets to the point where she's great, other than that, probably because Penny Parker is. I still think the double mess was nice. I mean, annoying, but alright, we move on to Phoenix, and this is the what the hell was going on over there in China. Like, they fucked Phoenix, and I'm telling you, there's not a lot of crazy things when I spin a wheel in the balance, post comes out, but I never expect Phoenix to be getting involved. I should, but I don't. Phoenix is going to have less explosive damage. Oh no! And slamming down the wheel, but her primary is buffed and better because of it. Phoenix is almost always banned, not to mention, I've got that dinosaur now, which puts on a fireworks display, killing everybody with Phoenix, and it's truly, if you want to be bad, right up there, top 3 with her game, alongside Wildcat winner. She's been hero of the season. She can fly, down, she can flip the gears, flip the stuff, she's got it all. Definitely disgusting. Alright, let's keep this thing moving. I'm still laughing at the fact that, like, here is 29, and these are getting like 2 hours for this video. I enjoy my first time, but it's all over the time. And I cast, for a living, so I'm going for it. What I will say is, out of all my videos, this is by far the most effort I've ever placed, and I like this too. I think it's going well. If you guys do too, there's like a new like hype feature on YouTube. You can press hype or radio, and it helps to kind of stand out more. If you guys care to, if you don't want to subscribe, or if you do, hit the hype button. It would help get more and more return on all the work that happens. But anyway. Let's move on to Psylocke, who is my favorite hero of the season right now. And not because she's the best, it's the one I'm playing the most by far. I'm returning to my old love. She is one of my most played heroes. I kind of put her down for a few seasons. And I don't know about you guys, don't have like a roller, like high up for them. I'm like, I should play her this one, so I get over and actually, I'm so concerned. I can't help it. I love Psylocke. The way she plays, her gameplay style is just so entertaining to me and constantly make it fun. And her character potential is crazy. So where does that put her? She was always kind of neck and neck with Star-Lord. That debate's kind of over. But she's still a very good, I think, top within rivals for a lot of reasons. Got her a little bit at the top end with Mantis and Ratner. But overall, her burst potential, it can be so crazy. You've got to be, hyper aware of her. But unlike someone like Daredevil, that's always in the back line, if you go and do your thing on the back line, which you shouldn't do all the time, but you can put that pressure on them, or just play with the Devil and the Vanguard and stuff. Not at all. And because of that, she is dangerous in low elo. Takes some skill, but not really. Like, just farm up that ult and go away. I've got her A tier for both. Probably towards the lower end for low elo and the higher end for the high. Either way, though, great hero at the moment. Plus, if you like skins, she's got like a billion. Alright, moving on, we go to Rocket Raccoon, and folks, we're back, alright? We're not at mobile, but we're back. And I don't know why I said we are ever play Rocket. Like, it might be one of my least played heroes. Oh my god, first of all, he can heal more, has more damage, and the ult comes more, but the damage is so... It's like just not realized. If you can put serious pressure on DPS and vanguard with his primary. He's not a heal bot anymore, but he can still do that. And then like the rest of his kit, like the respawn weekend and whatnot, is always going to have that huge value of, saving a mistake. His ultimate with place grip is awesome, with a quick burst potential and from damage and healing that it does. And by far the best of all is, because they overcooked with Phoenix, she's banned all the time. So you are free to roam the Everclear pastures as a Raccoon main. I don't have him in S tier for high elo. I can't quite put him there, but I do think it's an awesome season for him, top of 82.
Harley's prime rib experience with 100% of American Angus burger at a not so fancy price for my reward.
Carmelo Anthony is cooked, bro. Them white folks about to fry him, man. It's over.
The Frisco 18-year-old accused of stabbing and killing another student at a track meet was indicted today for first-degree murder. Carmelo Anthony is accused of killing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf in the stadium stands during the April meet. Anthony was 17 at the time and was then charged as an adult. Fox News' Amelia Jones. Tonight, Amelia.
Steve, the indictment is the natural next step in any criminal case, and it paves the way for the case to move closer to a potential trial. The Collin County DA's office and Carmelo Anthony's defense attorney released a video statement about the indictment. Both shared that they will be ready to present their case in court when the time comes. Jury indicted 18-year-old Anthony for first-degree murder.
Before this video started, if you want to learn how I made $142,000 for YouTube this month, join my community by clicking the link in the description. That's where I give you guys all the tools to grow on YouTube and make money, as well as offer you guys the opportunity to make videos to do joint videos, joint reactions that get posted on both our channels. I also promote your videos on my social media pages. Don't you want to work with me? Like, click the link in my description and join my community. Let's get started. Let's grind. Let's make money together.
He's accused of stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a Bristol IC track meet earlier this year. Anthony was 17 at the time of the stabbing. He's being tried as an adult. The Collin County District Attorney's Office released a rare video statement about the indictment.
When something like this happens at a school, it shakes people to the core. Let's remember that the justice system works best when it is steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to do, and that's what this case deserves.
Anthony's defense attorney also put out a video statement reiterating Anthony's claims that he acted in self-defense.
We expect that when the full story is heard, the prosecution will not be able to rule out the reasonable doubt that Carmelo Anthony may have acted in self-defense.
I don't know if a plea deal was ever offered to Carmelo Anthony. I don't know if they ever told him, hey, man, 20 on the table, take 20, do your time and come behind the age of 37 years old. I don't know, maybe that was on the table. But if Carmelo Anthony rejected the plea deal, it would be the biggest mistake of his life. He just got too much back up against him, man. That's his day one at trial. Day one. And they already know some time. Now, jury selection took place. They promised this man a jury of his peers. And guess how many black people
Hello, everybody. Today, within the last hour, a jury has been chosen to decide the closely watched murder trial of Carmelo Anthony.
More than 500 people were on the list of potential jurors, but the jury will not include anyone who is black, despite this case being racially charged. Fox 4's Alex Wade joining us now. Alex.
Hey guys, good evening. That's Frank. And I can tell you that a court spokesperson confirmed that there are indeed no black jurors on this panel. And I can tell you that before this jury panel was seated, the defense objected to 3 black women being struck by the prosecution. Now, the prosecution contended that it was due to the fact that the women knew that this incident happened at a school function with young students. The defense then pointed out that those were three of those were 100% of the available black jurors in what's called the strike zone, adding that the state struck all 3.
If the case is so open and shut, why not just give him a fair shot? Why not give him some black jurors? Give him a jury of his peers. But no black jurors on the jury?
Don't touch her.
And if people ain't struck, I'm so confused. I'll be a jury in the case. Educators. The people, like, who understand, like, the school dynamics that's what's going on, they understand the full context of what both Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf will be going through.
He found in the Uber questionnaires, he came back and said that the defense's challenge to the 3 jurors be dismissed was denied. The judge said the court found that the state had non-racial reasons to strike the jurors. Now, background, Carmelo Anthony, 17 at the time, is accused of fatally stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf last year at a Frisco ISD track meet. Anthony was
presumably sitting under a tent for school that he did not attend. Witnesses say the two got into an argument and Anthony stabbed Metcalf in his chest. Metcalf died in his twin brother's arms. Police said that Anthony told them he acted in self-defense. Now, this case has become racially charged, fueled in large part by online speculation, rumors, and misinformation. On Wednesday, attorneys for both sides got an hour and 45 minutes to question the reduced poll of these potential jurors. They were questioned on their views on a variety of topics, including race, how they felt about serving on this case, and if they would hold it against the defendant if he chose not to testify on his own behalf. The defense also tried to gauge if the potential jurors would be uncomfortable giving Anthony a lower sentence if there is a guilty verdict.
We don't want it this way, but this case is a violent called racial lines. It just is. It is reason it matters. The prosecutor would be asking if their peers will consider racial issues during jury selection. Of course it is. They didn't disqualify those two black educators because they made be biased against Carmelo Anthony. That's absurd. No, they did it because they were black and they felt like them being black would help Carmelo Anthony. Straight up. It's simple as that. But if the kid is as guilty as they say, why try to railroad? That's what I don't understand. And they even put it down like this saying, oh, there may be some minority families. There ain't no minority like a black person. I'm no minority rock with black people like white people rock black. And I'm not even saying he's 100% innocent. Now, I know the circumstances of the case. It was pouring rain outside. He didn't go to the track meet looking for a fight. It wasn't premeditated. It was pouring rain outside. He simply went under the nearest tent until the rain stopped coming down. Most normal people will go inside the tent, see somebody in the tent while it's pouring rain outside, and they'll say, hey man, yo, what's your name, bro? Hey, look man, I'm going to Cabela's on that back. Right? That's how me and my guys would do it. Yo, I see like a kid under the tent while it's pouring rain outside. I'm not kicking a kid out in the rain. Like, that's crazy. I don't think this case is clear cut after this. It's a lot of right now, bro. Back to roll up the shit. It's just not the same enough, man. Yo, Carmelo Anthony is what 5'6", 130, 40 pounds, who's like a little shot stuff in my way. Arthur Metcalf is about 6'2", 240. The kid might feel my life is in danger, so this dude put his hands on. Now, I gave him several warnings. Hey, don't touch me. Hey, don't touch me. Hey, don't put your hands on me. Several times. And the dude put his hands on Carmelo Anthony. The kid might have felt like, bro, I can't do nothing with no 6'2", 240-pound linebacker and a 5'6", 130. What you couldn't do to defend myself, I gotta do the weapon. Now, one thing is he had a gun. That's one thing. Well, you get those things in games and get up for the ball. You need to get more. I'm gonna tell you my team is strong. The people in Kansas City is working. They don't even give it about Kansas City defense. And that matters not because of the law, but because of the trust you place in us. To be there for you when you're hurt, you can't work, and the bills are piling up. Thank you for trusting us to fight for you and make things right. If you've been hurt, count on Kansas City defense longer. Call me. I've got this.
Hey, shoot this video unless you were actually in a car accident. Seriously.
Fuck.
In a car accident the last couple of years, it's probably won't find you. But if someone else caused an accident you were involved in, even if you were just a passenger or a rideshare, there's something most people don't realize until they check. And it only takes answering 4 quick questions to find out. When my accident happened, it honestly didn't seem that serious. I was stopped at a red light when another driver hit the back of my car. We exchanged information, I spoke with insurance, and eventually they came back with an offer. At the time, I assumed that was just the normal process. I thought the insurance company had already paid. When a friend asked me something I never thought of it. If you ever test what your personality classified for, I had no idea what it meant. That's when he showed me a site called StrikeTeam Only. The process is surprisingly simple. You click the link below, you answer 4 core questions about your accident, and the system checks whether your situation is qualifying for use by specialists who handle these cases. The whole thing takes less than a minute. The questions were actually very simple. The first question was when the accident happened.
Right here, we could make
Who knows? Now, this high-profile case continues to draw supporters
and spectators to the Collin County Courthouse. We saw another group of folks demonstrating at the entrance of the courthouse this afternoon. We expect that to continue throughout the trial, which the judge hopes have wrapped up by the end of next week. And I can tell you that 19-year-old Carmelo Anthony was in court today for the proceedings. He was wearing a suit with a tie and a purple shirt, which is also the color many of his supporters have been wearing. He did take some notes during the proceedings. I can also tell you that there does appear to be some minority on the jury panel. Again, however, none of them are African American. Opening statements begin tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Now, apparently the demographic in their county is like 0.2% black, like 16% Indian, 20% Hispanic, 15% white. So the minorities that are included more likely are probably Hispanic and Indian.
Spider's plating is made from carbon
And with a black man being on trial, that might as well be white. Hey man, listen, bro. And that applies to Hispanics too. Yo, if a Hispanic man is on trial and you say he's represented because there's a black guy on the panel, he's going to tell you, let's go bring an all-white panel, bro. Because there's no representation. I'm a Hispanic guy. How does that skin that? What's what an Indian guy or a black guy doing on this jury box means for me? Absolutely nothing at all. But they're not being prone to vote not guilty. No, them know me. Right? You have to have representation. Now, here's the thing, okay? I heard Megyn Kelly and a bunch of people that do. And you could tell them they're told, this is personal fault. This is personal fault. If they're there, they're celebrating the fact that there's no black people on the jury. Because, according to Megyn Kelly, right, if there were black people on the jury, it will be another voting to do.
It's particular jurisdiction and be now Collin County. 2024 election results. Interestingly, went 54% for Trump, 43% for Harris. It's 54% white. It's 0.7% black. 15% Hispanic or Latino. 18% Indian. Those are the Asian or American. But it's predominantly white. And so, your Republican has a jury that reflects that general makeup. I'm not sure exactly how that would play, but it would play better than Rosie trial played in Los Angeles, or a jury that was predominantly minority and had a grudge against the cops. Bill mentions the thing about publicity. Anthony could argue that he was provoked by also putting hands on him. Number one, Bill's right. The force you use after somebody lays hands on you cannot be disproportionate. Deadly force cannot be used just because somebody places hands on you, even if it's a push or a shove, or like I try to pushing you out of the hands.
You see what I mean when I'm saying it just sounds personal? It just sounds personal. I just read up this whole situation and say, hey, bro, y'all better not put a black person on this jury. That even knew that there was a black person being put on the jury. They said, hey, y'all better know. Y'all see what happened? Well, they got off because the black folks had a problem with the white cops. That's why they let OJ off. Don't put a black person on that jury. I don't think black people who are in a jury box see somebody who is fairly guilty of murder and then voted not guilty. I think black people will only vote not guilty if they truly believe Carmelo Anthony is not guilty. Right? And people bring up reasonable force. I just say, what is the reasonable force here? This is a 5'6", 5'7", 130, 140 pound kid who got into a physical altercation with a 6'2" kid with like 240 pounds. What should he have done?
But even let's say he's going to say, I thought he had a weapon, or something like that. If you provoked him into laying those hands on you, you can't win on a self-defense defense. Right? It's going to be a very difficult case for the defense. I think we had a little bit of a hint as to what they're going to argue in some of the statements. He hasn't made a lot of statements, but the defense lawyer did make a statement that I've looked at a couple times. He said something about the state's not going to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this was self-defense. So I think even he has recognized that this isn't what we would call a perfect self-defense. It's a very messy self-defense, but I think he's going to put it up anyway. And honestly, I don't think he has a lot of other options other than for him to, present this to the prosecution and plead for mercy, which is what he should have done because he murdered this kid. I mean, he definitely murdered this poor child who should be graduating high school and getting ready to go off to college. should be enjoying his last summer before college, and instead his parents are mourning his loss. I mean, it is murder, and I don't think Harry is showing any sympathy. The fact that he walked up to this tent, where let's think about the situation. It's a track meet where there's lots of different tents. Everybody is there under their own street's tent. We look at it through a race lens, but these are events where you don't really go up to your opponent and go and hang out with them. They don't do that. They're happy. Like that. I mean, that's like going to a Giants game and sitting on the wrong side. I think this happens in every sport. That's exactly what I'm thinking. It's like you're going in the locker room of your opponent and being like, hey, let's what do you expect? If this guy laid hands on him, laying hands on him does not mean this kid was in a fear of an immediate bodily injury, a serious bodily injury. You can't just be scared that you're going to get pushed. You have to be scared that you're going to die or you're literally going to lose your limbs or something super, super significant. And,
you know the difference between this and a cello case? Sean walked up to somebody. Sean walked up to somebody, antagonized them, and then shot them. In this case, Carmelo didn't really play with anybody. He was in the tent, minding his business, trying to stay dry. Walter Metcalf came into the tent. So you gotta go. Carmelo said, I'm not going somewhere. Walter Metcalf put his hands on Carmelo and Carmelo back. I'm not saying stabbing is a justified reaction to having hands put on you. I'm just saying, for us to call this kid a cold-blooded, premeditated murder, it's not that. It's just not that. This is not a cold-blooded, premeditated murder. You need to distract me. You can see how
The higher the pressure,
hands put on him. I don't think this kid is a monster by far. No, and I feel like with the right jury, he'll probably get on.
but I can afford the higher the pressure.
Yo, put like 2 or 3 or 4 black folks on that jury and tell them, hey, this kid, put hands on this kid, who's a 5'6" black, and he put hands on him and tried to drag him out the tent.
The more dazzling the
Man, it's for level today, man. Not guilty. One man we can throw from. We heard it. We're not guilty. So I don't know, boy. Don't let me know in a situation where, for me, for instance, I've heard back in the case. I don't really think that there would be much that would change my mind about this case. So I don't think it's on this case is simple. I don't think Carmelo Anthony should probably got in charge of something lesser. Like I don't know, like a manslaughter probably. Right? Like unintentional homicide. Like I don't know, because I don't feel like he meant to kill this dude. Right? He swung that knife at him after his put on him. Well, y'all let me know in the comment section what you guys feel about this video. If you're still watching this video and you want to watch another video, then click on this video right here, somewhere on the screen, somewhere here, or here, somewhere on the screen, to find out why exactly Chuck Miller and his team was begging, crying, and having a meltdown today after the judge handed down a devastating decision. You guys can start the Miller video. I'm just so deep.
The installation was super easy. I didn't have to go pick up anything on my own, and all of the equipment was included. It's just one and done. Anyone that needs any of those things should check out G-Fiber.
These could be treacherous.
There they are. They don't look friendly.
The music industry has finally discovered Clippy.
What's it like working with Drake?
He's very pretty, pretty green, born in Greece, with about 13 characters.
As we know by now, everything was great these days. They just want to make every artist seem like they're popping, but then buy into the brand and then start listening to them. They would rob you to inflate their numbers, pay for engagement, and even hire Clippers to scam their content all the things to be. And look much bigger than they all.
How many people are cooking food? I believe it's about 1,000. You know how many views? 3 million more.
doing it. And now music industry is copying that exact same thing. Apparently, there are doing some things that is religious. I'm not even here to hide the game. I'll tell you, I think some of the things you say, which honestly shouldn't surprise anybody because the music industry has always been crazy. And when always to always do take overstate hype and manufacturing popularity to sell on. The way you get an entrepreneur was really defined by the labels. They own the radio station, play this person, right? They give you the resources, play this person, and that's how you become stuff. Things started changing with streaming, with social media, all that. But they have found something that's been really effective now. If you to Jared, please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it. So, music used to be a very different thing in that, like, the way you would get an entrepreneur was really defined by the labels for the most part. They own the radio station, play this person, right? They give you the resources, play this person, and that's how you become stuff. Things started changing with streaming, with social media, because now maybe couldn't dictate it the same way. But they have found something that's been really effective now, and that is the very physical limit color. It's pretty tiny, actually. They've gone out. What do you want to do? Not just like all of the influence. You join this platform, it's a mixed platform. It's a job, airways, just like both people hire. And essentially, it's the stress is all the and what happens is, I can come in and say, as Trevor, I have a campaign that I want to make. I have $10,000, and I pay it to the service. The service then goes out to anyone who signed up to it, who's just a regular person online, and says to them, hey, find a way to play the song, find a way to make the campaign go viral, and we pay people for you. So you don't pay people who play. I like to find it and only people respond. No. You gotta go, oh, wow, that was an amazing job for the I did. 2 million people. Pay them 2 million. And people who think somebody didn't catch on and don't really pay them for that. And so you are paying for performance, but what it does is, it creates a false idea of what crews are. When you have people who make success and check the money, it makes it feel like a trend when it is not a trend. Well, you should drive and without losing these guys or the art. This is the industry in and of itself now. Let's people class for that's how it's great. Most of the social media is going to be popular in this world. Well, it's not like we're good there. Everybody needs to range, so we really started talking about all those changes. I just think we really actually do in real life. We don't know what we do. That's why we have going to start to develop some training. Yeah, we thought this going figure and we work with them. I think I have a lot of strategies that are good for viral flipping engagement. I think Jacob helps me a lot with your flipping budget. So, over 6 figures a month. And in that campaign, I've been going towards pushing me out there into audiences because I can't. There's not really a lot of growth, right? There's not as many users that switch. So people aren't organically coming across the streaming. So they kind of have to incentivize people to stream on that platform in other ways. Or if you know, set up like a gift program where there's like a $20 or $30 PPM, and that kind of incentivizes people for 1,000 meters, something like that, yeah. So how many people are cooking for your I believe it's about 1,000. You know how many views they're getting a month? And that's the point of this, to make it seem bigger and more popular than they are. In all places like Twitch, unless you already have people watching you, you won't need people watching. You understand why everybody is willing to pay for views? And it's
Just capture the mission area. Got it?
Oh, wait, I've not got 80,000 people in this stream. You got it. So, money.
I sense them. I'm counting on you.
whatever is legal, Governor was 100% correct. They are paying for fake friends now. The great Iceman currently has a campaign that is paying for 100 on extra top floor IG. That's not even healthy stable poly market. As well as what they can for 50% for fake. And you can see the version right now. It's not the only person doing this. How the music industry is taking violence success. He's 100% right. There's always about one-up artists. This whole music industry is like this fabricated. And the more that I've gotten deeper into it, the more it's like perception. They just want to make every artist seem like they're popping, and then buy into the brand and then start listening to them. That's all it is. When a label signs an artist, say, who has like 4K followers, like nothing, like 400 even, they start putting on blogs, like every single blog, 10, 15, every single week. The followers just slowly grow, and soon, like, you just get subconsciously, like, you're like, oh, I know who this guy is, I've seen him. You may not hit the first time, the second, all the way to the 10th time, but that 10th time, you're like, okay, maybe I'll check out his IG page and his music. That's exactly how it is. It's just, remember marketing, it's just a different way to do that. And you can't have whatever it is. We're copying this thing. It's great to have, like, greenhouse requirements, out and stem down, song push, and some of those simple platforms that doesn't know. What's it like working with her? I'm saying, I can go to 2 weeks ago, and it's what's the cool part of it? Yeah, I mean, there's like knocking out the park with it. Yeah, we did a 50 grand, with about 13 for the show. His album was number 1. Why is marketing and advertising? Look at his band now. Why are people acting like they just uncovered some new evil thing? Brands have been influencers to influence why they're about to for 100 years. All fact that does it basically what advertising is. It's a promote a product which you buy it. This is why they take crazy people like celebrities because they know they have to do anything for them. It's that little file whatever they're selling. I think this gets down to expanding what you think they're putting. One thing is about the way. I can't visible numbers of people seeing this influencing the people doing something that was just about to. It's not only going to say or something, it will force everybody across the board these days. That's what they do. How many new stuff do? How many like positive profit? Realize first, look at the exposed violent reality. I think we all know that by now, but I think I can understand numbers. We just call it the height of when they get new things and things because it's the biggest, most popular streamer in the world. But that's usually not the case, which is why the whole term is because when these people come out of nowhere and they're already popular, already successful, already famous, they usually feel innocent for those people. Academics versus the big hype campaign Breakers did it for Iceman. They paid people $40 to make fame fans. I think it's $50 per 100,000 views. But Academics' aggressiveness is really funny because he is the #1 fake hype man. People think he's made a benefit in some way financially to push greatest artists he does. But it might be apparently they are doing some things that's open. But it's not very good for them. And something about one of these like companies, out of the Polymarket, like whatever. They're so excited that they can shout out, they put budget behind people trying to highlight in the music. Yeah. So really, I'm excited. Very smart to get free promo, and very good free promo, because some other companies shout it out. So no, I'm not even here to hide the name. I'll say that. But that's going I think an influencer getting paid to support somebody and not admitting that is much different than clippers. You're basically paying a company or freelancers or freelancers or technology. I don't think that's too bad. It's like I think people are celebrity promoting stuff and acting like they're not getting paid for stuff. You can make sure I keep back and forth. They're not supposed to part of it. You definitely do like marketing, promoting, so move to the brain has to fall and come into the now. It's inside of the human industry, that's what we need to do now. watching. Also, make sure you check out the next video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and like stuff. And I catch you next time.
If you're a solo player still on really on the colleges or on first, you need to check out the team pack to keep up players. Free pressure is overstressed. It's where I take my long-form video content and turn it into short, viral clips in 20 seconds. The AI editors are literally everything for me. It can take our slowly, visual, and action for photos and 360 ideas. It's fully customizable on my video editor. You can get our things. Get a solo player, over to see how you can keep my content and We're in the over the finish changes. We've got to take the time.
Hey there, you're in sketches with me. I'm all back to your phone. You're watching the sound of the movie. If people with all the different things, it's not money,
That doesn't count.
And that means you can afford to keep offering streaming services if even.
Today is quite possibly one of the worst days of Adam putting to his wife. His wife left him, quite possibly for a black guy being owned. But how he found out was even more shocking. How the world found out was even more shocking. Before we get this video started, if you want to learn how I made $142,000 for YouTube this month, go back to YouTube. I put a link in the description. That's where I give you guys all the tools to grow YouTube and make money, as well as offer you guys the opportunity to make videos, to do short videos, short videos, to get posted on both our channels. I also promote the videos on my social media pages. So you know, let's just be like, click the link in my description and join my community. Let's get started, let's run, let's make money together. This is quite possibly the most expected, unexpected news of 2026. Like, was anybody thought, like, no, honestly, like, when you guys heard this news, was anybody the room for all the ones? You know what I'm talking about? What's like this? It was expected. Homie, nobody seen this and thought shocker, okay? So, Kenzie wrote, Leonard Plug is pulling the plug on our badge for Adam 22. Leonard filed an divorce doctrine in LA County without a lawyer on June 1st, which happens to be her birthday and wants legal and physical custody of your daughter. What to be filed, I don't care what the legal justification is, I don't care what it is, you're absolutely fine. Like, Adam loves to his kid, he loves his kid, he loves being with his kid. So, request, like, legal and, like, physical custody, like, as if this is a monster case. Now, I'm going to put this out there with a disclaimer, right? Because I was just say nobody. We don't know why he filed this divorce. Again, here's the disclaimer. Okay? We don't know, okay? So, I'm saying this and I'm making this video before the reason for why the divorce is public. So, if it goes public that Adam has done some hating things, well, I think if he got stronger, I deserve the right to take back my business. But for now, that's a great problem. It's not a huge one. Like, if the relationship don't work out, cool. But, yo, don't interfere with that man being a problem. But, like, that's not too, like, I ain't rocking with that at all. So, man, I like it. Like, you feel like, I think Leonard is cool, but that's not a cool move at all. Like, that's unexpected. Like, I would not expect Leonard to move like that. That's crazy. Right? Now, that's what says in the doc. Lena says she does not have a job, and her only income is $3,000 a month in solid support from Adam. Hold on, man. Yo, Adam is my friend, so I gotta miss my words and be very careful and I want to see. Hold on, you mean to tell me that now the justification, Adam, for why you allowed Lena to do the scene with Jason Love, why you allowed her to go to war, right, with type that enormous, is because of the money is made. I almost told that video made like $30 million. You mean to tell me, man, like the pipe got served for free? Like, who made it look like the pipe got served for free? Now, the tape was 2-3 years ago, so understood, right? I mean, you filed for the book, you got to be paying income every year. So if the tape is 3 years old, because this is 2023 when it happened, then understood, maybe her income has principal. You know, if you do something like that, you got to get paid. Right? You know, My wife, if I allow my woman to take something that enormous for a profit, like the practice can't dwindle within 3 years, bro. Like the money can't be squandered within 3 years, bro. Like if the paper got squandered, what's the point of having schedules like that to live with the internet forever? I don't understand at all. I don't get it. Now, apparently Adam isn't school heartbroken because I've seen Adam post on Instagram freedom. Wrong guy spray patrolling, all black women who want to date me, please DM me, I will buy you a car. And then he posted freedom. Now, when I'm seeing this, the first thing I thought, oh, Adam ain't as tender as we thought. Think about it for a second. Whenever you ask somebody, hey, would you allow your woman to sleep with somebody for $15 million? Well, whenever I ask that question, the first thing I'll get back is, of course. But then I'll leave her afterwards. I'll take my money and then leave her afterwards. Adam had Lana doing the BBC scene with Days of Love, two other black guys afterwards, had a reality show where they was like competing for what BBC would sleep with Lana. They had the money on OnlyFans. Adam took all the money, gave her $3,000 a month in return, while he pocketed millions of dollars from the scenes that she did with black guys. And then left her afterwards. Oh, no, this is... Hey, listen, man. Now, if that's the reality, because that'll make sense when you say, yo, I only get paid $3,000 a month, because Lena only said she'll make millions of dollars. But I guess if you're allowing your wife to be with other men, I guess that money has to come to you as a man for you to feel, you know, I guess like still intact, right? Like when you're masculine to somebody intact, you would have to receive all the money from the OnlyFans. Straight up. So, now we know, Adam will give her a $3K a month, making all the money from her scenes with BBC. She probably got sick and tired of it and said, man, I'm done with this, bro. I'm cool. But it's too late. Adam already got it. Like, M's from all those things. Now, the one thing that was telling them that I always thought was like a really bad sign, if you ever went to Lena's Instagram, she don't have like or like her last name on her Instagram is like that. Her last name on her like OnlyFans, well not OnlyFans, but on her Instagram, her last name is Lena Narcisse. Bro, I can say that name. But this is the name that's on her Instagram.
Which team to win this one?
Narcisse. Bro, I can say that name. But this is the name that's on her Instagram. Adam's last name is Grandma Song. If you're married to Adam, why wouldn't you change your name? It's the name not even changing. Now, it's not like Kim Kardashian where we know her as Kim Kardashian. We don't know Lena Narcisse. We don't Lena the fuck. But straight up. So for her to keep her last name on her social media pages already shows her commitment and dedication. So maybe just now still from the very beginning. Now the thing is, well, you have to be born. If I can say, well, you watch this conversation back, I'm like, bro, Adam seems really dismissive, as if it's never going to happen, as if it's never going to leave, as if it's kind of solidified, and now we know what the reality is, right? So take a look at Black Woman was born in Adam last year, and take a look at how dismissive Adam is about the reality that we're currently dealing with right now. What is going on? Like, you're right. We understand that Adam allows the things to happen. There's love. His wife is more. Are these old or new? I don't they talk about. I guess there's a lot of things going on. Something you and never heard, something. Are that old or is that new? So, number one, they did do like a, they have a, they did a 53 out of first floor. And then they up here. And we're all doing that. They show what the Instagram is, whatever they're playing, about that. But it has been discussed that in the future, you may see the twin sister, whatever the fuck, and Asian love in a big old standing listen, love. Have it done. I'm telling you, what? I'm black. Okay. Listen. No, listen, bro. I'm gonna give you one. It's not gonna know, but hey, come on, bro. I got it.
You know what to do, Spider.
She's lying, yo. Listen. She's gonna play possible. When that mother camera come on, you're gonna bring it here. Hey, we gonna add you something like the mother shit. And I'm telling you, brother, it's podcast. Don't play. They never did it with Jason Ruff, but they did it with another fighter. Right? Now, here's the thing. If I'm out of circle, my wife is not dealing with it. Alright, Adam don't got enough feed to really deal with that. Let's see what's there, bro. I'll block a couple of Adam's content. I'm not gonna fight it. It was for research purposes. Right, research purposes only. No freaky stuff over here. So I didn't watch the content of that by myself. I watched it for research purposes only. Adam don't got enough. Adam don't got enough to be fine with his wife goes. Now, if you're somebody who's packing a 12-inch bill, and you know how to give the dagger to you know how to really put it down. You are perfectly fine with the wrong object with the kind of that. So, what I can say right now I know it's like if I try to hurt Adam Silver, so I can say this quite perfectly. When you put yourself in this situation, when you are a famous wife with a wife who's bringing love, like, those black guys are gunners. They're gonna go extra hard with dealing with us. Alright? Extra hard with dealing with us to send us message to you. They assign some village and the other day, if they go as hard as possible, those press agents are gonna post the screenshot of, concerning most perspective makers like they posted with the data web page. Right? So certain people will post that screenshot of certain most perspective makers. Don't know things, and then look at people possibly willing to humiliate you. And we're in a fight. No, when Adam strokes, he still put one hand on his hip. So I watched one scene where Adam was like smoking, and he put this hand and he put it right here. And I'm like, why? Why is this hand on the back as you smoke? What's the purpose? What is the purpose? I don't know. I've never done that. Like, why is that part to work for? Can somebody explain why putting one hand on the back of the stroke? What does that do for the working floor? I don't understand. So, clearly, after a black something somewhere when he was a guy. But he's just not what is imaginable when you and I are going up and going out and do certain things with professionals. They don't feel the same when they're back home. I'm so adamant, brother. I was ready, but I'm just being real. Well, what is the worst thing you think you're coming? You're going to try to get knocked out in your room and counted out. You're going to get knocked out in a room with multiple other people. If you get your black kids out of that very innocent. Not gonna be you and home. You gonna turn to the other kids, and you take the first look, and if you try to react, he's gonna be the other kid gonna find it. I'm telling you, as a brother, I can't tell you what the brother is. I'm worried about him. The shit out of her, bro. That's terrible. Nope. Yeah, we gonna have you looking like a peon, bro. Don't do this shit. There's a guy I can bring up right now that me and my man found it. I'm not lying. It's not that. It was me. It's all good. I'm not talking about it. It's all good. This is the black dude you got that is running for your life, right? Now you say, y'all, you go to the ball down to the street, y'all to the nurse. It's not going to take into the house before you and make you look like a bozo. To be fair, he's a professional that in the game. Him outperforming me is okay. The person it feels like you're worried about that. I'm okay with that. I understand there's probably other stuff. Brother, psychologically, I know you stay through this. So I'm not. This shit don't have those problems. He's not there. I don't care. Yo, what's the all of this shit? Bro, and literally, it ain't going to him. It's going to hurt. And looking back, last person was 100% right. If the goal was to be married for 50 plus years, this was a very bad mistake. If the goal was to make as much money as possible and then leave your wife, then this was a good thing. But I don't think that was Adam's plan, man. I just think this is just a terrible situation. I'm praying for Adam, I'm praying for Lena. Really like both of them. But as my brother, man, I'm riding with Adam, bro. This ain't cool, man. All right. Y'all let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Is this expected from you guys? If you're still watching this video and you want to watch another good video, then click on this video right here somewhere. Click somewhere here, or here, or here. I'm going to find out. Watch the next very bad day. Looks like I will actually go to break down exactly how to see it in this video right here. So in this video, if you like our video, then please send me a hype. We can go on the support. I'll see you guys in the relevant in the video. I'm going to get
The current score is 3-2.
Let's say the else. One of the most iconic villains we see in Marvel, if not his superhero comic space as a whole. Most of us are generally familiar with how these things work. They have weird blobs of aliens that bond with people and give them a bunch of superpowers, but also, have a tendency to take over their hosts and sometimes even threats. But is that really all of it? Are the symbiotes really normal? Or is there a deeper level of arcane complexity to their lore? For example, I'm going to go ahead and answer my own question. It is the second one. My God, are they complex now? In the last 10 years especially, Marvel has developed an insane amount of the lore of Venom and the species, adding concepts like Noah, the god of symbiotes, as well as a bunch of time travel and human symbiote hybrids and many other things that are admittedly a little hard to track. If you haven't watched a catch-up video on the symbiotes and how they work in general, this is the video for you. Are we going to be covering literally everything about the symbiotes? God, no, because that's like 45 years, and I only have a couple of hours to do this. But I will give you the things that you need to know so that you'll have a rough understanding of how they work or they can going forward, which is still going to be quite a lot. But hey, if people on this channel have proven that you are more than willing to stick around to love videos, so let's do it. Now, before we get into the very large amount of lore we're going to be covering, I have to address the order in which I'm going to present it, because when it comes to the symbiotes, I had two options. Option one was to present this kind of like a universe history book. Start way back in the past at the origin of symbiote species and move forward from there to the present day. Option two was to do this by real publication history, meaning to begin at the Black Suit Spider-Man arc in the 1980s and go over the lore as it was still. Both of these orders had pros and cons to them, and I felt pretty confident that I could present the video with either structure, meaning I was kind of scored on which to do, and ultimately decided to just do the lazy option. Sorry, I decided to do community engagement with you guys! So I put it up to a YouTube post. 7,000 people voted 63% in favor of the universe timeline, so that was done with. Don't worry, I will videos about publication as to get to them, and if you're mad about how this turned out, that's no argue with democracy. So there is one kind of interesting quirk about doing the history of the symbiotes by in-universe chronology, which is that we are starting with symbiotes. So that's how you know we're in for some good comic book nonsense today. Our story begins at the beginning of existence itself, like damn near the first point in any Marvel timeline, which is probably a lot more back than any of you thought we were going to go, but you're just going to have to trust me to stick to what's relevant to symbiotes. If you do want more details about this, I did another 2-hour video essay about it a couple months ago. You can have all the details of the article. Also, I do know that finding a 2-hour video essay in a 2-hour video essay is kind of insane, but if you're the type of person who got excited about this video, you're probably the type of person to be excited that there's another waiting for you. Anyway, that's the first thing. I have to be very interested in celestials. Yes, like the celestials that you are probably thinking about. They were
extremely powerful and spend most of their time just experimenting on students because the science is simple with the celestial development. This worked out fine for a time, but eventually the celestials began disagreeing with each other on how exactly got to themselves. So they split into factions, these two factions fought, and their fight became so big that the universe exploded. This is not a celebration at all, and it's also not particularly uncommon in Marvel. Research has been destroyed and restructured several times, and that cycle is key to the lore of the symbiote of all things. I'm going to be getting this very quickly, but again, there's certainly any stuff relevant to the topic today. So reality, or rather the first version of reality, explodes, and the celestials is divided pop out in the second reality. At this point, they decide maybe we should set up a checks and balances system just to ensure that doesn't happen again. The system they designed was another type of being, infinite entities known as Omegas. The Omegas had two purposes. One, kill their masters if another celestial was to ever begin, but second, is the more plausible for our time today, preserve the existence of the multiverse from within. See, the celestials could learn something from Peter Parker because while they are incredibly powerful, they are also notoriously irresponsible. They don't want to do the reputation of the things that they do. They don't want to do their creation and strange experiments. The Omegas were supposed to make sure that none of that stuff went too off the rails. With this dynamic established, everything is once again fine for a while. The Celestials, they have the thinking and the Omega, and while everything is stable, that is, appearing one of the Celestials out with this new language concept. Introducing death itself to the systems that previously had no such concept understandably caused some problems, and as a result of those problems, great exploded. But at this point, the Celestials are 2 for 2 on breaking everything. Fortunately, once more, the Celestials, and in this case, the Omegas, to survive. I trust the Celestials all want to do their thing, but the Omegas get sent outside of the multiverse. They don't exist in the person per se, they exist in like a little bubble, essentially remnants of the second stuff that exists. I mean, it's a clear kind of space problem. They're not really geographical coordinates to it, they just exist. Me choosing that word was not arbitrary in the planet, and from this point going forward, you can think of us to be known as the Beyonder. Now, I'm going to point out that people don't get to be normal, they have to know what we're talking about, but this whole specifically go, I will not the Beyonder. This book has a million different names. Relevant to it is the Kings in White. The Kings in White, or the Ivory King, yes, I did just introduce a new name for them in 3 consecutive times, don't blame me for that, Marvel continued their work preserving the world, but now they were doing something. The Kings in White, they were not located in the multiverse anymore, and this gave them a lot more oversight as to keeping everything in check. They had a very literal outside perspective. It seems that the being hosted to make sure that everything is off the system. But with the advantages of this solution and implementation, these beings were incredibly powerful and probably on making it leaping dangerous to the multiverse with presence. They were great at but they were not at the small scale. Something demanding that response with you a third party to their cosmic system. The Celestials would continue acting as unbiased forces of creation, development, and expansion. The King is light, and the outside, and this they tend within. Since the new edition was serving somewhat opposite roles in the King's in light, it was dubbed the King in Black. Now, King, as sort of King's Carbon, very important there. The Kings in White are a singular organization. There are no genres of colors, but most of them are going outside the multiverse from one location. The King in Black, however, is singular. There is only one per universe. The concept of how they work on a multiversal scale is very weird. I'm going to come back to that, but not until way later in this video. So for now, just remember there is one King in Black, not a bunch of them. The final thing we start talking about specific characters is the tool that the Cosmic Kings use to complete their work. By the King in White, it works that it has a bunch of names, but for dramatic purposes that will pay off later, I'm going to refer to it here as the Unit Power. The Unit Power has lots of later, but let's know that it usually represents time left. Then, as you can probably guess, the king in black has a terrible power known as Invisible Sphinx. Within the mist is represented by darkness, but specifically in the context of, like, primordial nothing, the void of reality. This is where we finally meet. Now, we're going to try to pull forward very substantially before the last pick up on the soul to do the regulation of reality. Now we're going to zoom all the way to the 7, or more accurately, kind of the gap that's between the 6 and the 7. Here we see, well, nothing really. There is no reality yet. This is the gap between universes. There is nothing here but a primordial void. And one singular entity. This entity is no. Now you might be wondering how no is literally nothing else, guys. And the answer is pretty simple. He is a god. Just try to follow the standard rules of logic. As a cosmic embodiment of sorts, he comes into play when the thing his body does. And no is a god of darkness, which means this primordial void is his pinnacle power. He's not so evil at this stage yet, because there's kind of nothing to yeah, no, it's completely content. Just brings endless even this video nothingness. But the Celestials are about to ruin his life. Even the Arts will try to skip, the Celestials just happen to do the same stuff. They do their weird creative and weird experiments, eventually something causes reality to grow up, oopsie-doopsie, but they're fine, they just go on to the next one. Eventually, it comes time for the Celestials to break their way into Reality 7, and they do so quite exclusively, bringing with them a burst of energy and light, known as the void, which he is not happy with. However, in less responsibility to action, these cosmic masterminds don't really care to tell the system doesn't matter. They might not still do it. See, one of the first things that has to happen in reality is that they are fully unused in black. And no, I mean, it's literally all reversed into this, into the god of darkness, and it's, there, so they just kind of throw it all away. Now, many other entities might simply accept or wrong. It's not the most practice any pretty cool stuff. Yeah, you get a gigantic power from this struggle with the abyss, and also you get to have a tremendous amount of influence over the preservation of your reality, then you are one of the primordial forces is going. But no is very spiteful, and Celestials just said let there be light and ruin is now. So he accepts the job, receives the living abyss boost, and then immediately turns on. Now, like what, 10 to 15 minutes into this video, I have sort of forget what exactly the timestamp we're at, we finally get to the first symbiote, and one of the most metal moments in everything we're going to be discussing today. At this point, the only things in all of existence are the Celestials, the light that they are emitting, and no. This means that no is the only thing casting in shadow. And with the power of his unbridled rage and the abyss, he forges his own shadow, the first shadow in all existence, into a blade, and with one strike of that blade, decapitates a Celestial. This is amazing, and it's one hell of a start in Mel's reign of terror. But unfortunately for the God of Darkness, there's a lot more than one Celestial there, and even though he is strong enough to kill one of them, he is nowhere near powerful enough to defeat all of the others at once, and so they cast him out into the void of space. Importantly, they don't kill him because he is the king in black now, but they do just sort of throw him far enough away that he won't be a problem for a life. With Mel's darkness, all of things basically, the Celestials begin their work and start developing the universe. But Mel, at the far fringes of space, is not content to just sit there. He wants to cast these invaders out. He is going to fight their light away and reclaim his infinite darkness, and he now has a weapon to do that. Now, just a second ago, I said that we finally reached the first symbiote of the story, and let me be very clear on what I mean by that. No, he's not actually a symbiote. This is a common misconception, but he is a god and creator of the symbiote. Think of their dynamics kind of like a necromancer and their army of skeletons. They might share some characteristics, but they are not the same thing. The symbiote, then, is No's weapon. This is all black